What Brenner Mills, Minnesota Vikings. Just want to win one before I die.
Dalton Zongrecker, Dallas Cowboys. Just trying to earn a little respect.
Lane Cooner, the conductor of the Baker train.
Welcome in, everybody. It is the Wednesday before the NFL draft. Welcome in. We are going to be going over all of the consensus mock drafts, the consensus of all the mock drafts that we could find. For those of you who don't know, NFL Mock Draft Database has a website that compiles over 1,352 to be exact, mock drafts that are out there. So we are going to be taking a look at their consensus picks over the past, what we decide, 2 weeks, boys?
Yeah.
We set on 2 weeks. Everybody good with 2 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
So the consensus pick for each first round pick over the past 2 weeks of every mock draft, or maybe not every mock draft, but over 1,300 mock drafts. So that's a lot. That's a couple. So without further ado, I'm going to pull it up on the screen here. There we go. So obviously we're going to look at the top 6, 7 picks here. Obviously, first overall, you get the ads up on the side of the screen. Sorry about that. Cameron Ward, number 1 overall. I feel like that's the overwhelming consensus. I'm shocked that it's not a 99 there.
Yeah.
That's kind of shocking.
You never know. You
Past
never
2 weeks.
know.
Man, you never know. And if you want to check out tomorrow's final mock draft of ours, you can hear my juicy little rumor of what I think might happen during the NFL draft. Long shot, super long shot, but who knows? Who knows what?
That's where that 3% comes in. That's why it's
That's
not
where that
99.
3% comes in. And if you're going to be tuning into the draft, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, because we will be doing a live stream night of the draft. So make sure to check that out. It'll be on our YouTube channel. So make sure to tune in with us, watch the draft, see what happens. We'll give all our analysis, all our thoughts on all the picks, all that jazz, what we think's going on. But Abdul Carter here to the Giants. We skipped the Browns. Travis Hunter. Yeah. Just totally skipping.
You skip them because it's a shoe.
I think those two are interchangeable there.
Yeah, I think one of these two will go in one or the other. I don't think Shadur's in at 3. Obviously, if you checked out the Giants months ago, everybody was saying Shadur. I think that's dropped off. I don't think Shadur goes at 3. I think everybody acknowledges that it's too high. Shadur Sanders can be a great game managing NFL quarterback. I think he could be CJ Stroud definitely fell off last year from his rookie season, but I feel like last year's CJ Stroud is kind of what I expect peak Shadur Sanders to look like in the NFL, which is a serviceable starting NFL quarterback, but not a guy who's just going to throw the team on his back and say, let's go to the bowl.
Yeah, not a Lamar Jackson player.
Not a Lamar Jackson, not a Josh Allen, not a Patrick Mahomes. Cameron Ward, his ceiling is a Patrick Mahomes level player. Now his floor is a out of the league in 3 years level player. So high boom, high bust. We're going to see. But yeah, Hunter and Abdul Carter, kind of interchangeable. I think this is how they go. This is how I would do it. If I was both organizations, I would want Travis Hunter first, then Abdul Carter. I'm not high on Abdul Carter. I was earlier in the offseason. I've watched a lot of film, and I'm going to give my full analysis of I think he's a one-trick pony. I think he wins with bend, and if he doesn't win with bend, he gets manhandled. And by all levels of competition. I don't think it's close. I think that there were no-namers throwing him in the dirt rep after rep after rep because he would use the exact same move every single time, and they eventually caught on and went, well, cool. Now, the opposing side of that is he used the exact same move every time and still won. Like, he's that good with that move. Like, one of the best I've ever seen from a collegiate standpoint. But that's all he gets. And you're going to throw him up against a Rashawn Slater, a Christian Darrisaw, a Trent Williams with the same move all game, he's going to get eaten alive. So we'll see. Will Campbell, I think everybody views him as a very generational talent at the offensive tackle position. I see him and Membu kind of interchangeable as the offensive tackle 1. I'm not mad at either of them here. I like Will Campbell here. I don't know if he's necessarily generational tackle, but he's definitely going to be a really good starting tackle in the NFL for the next decade. Do you guys have any?
Yeah, no, I definitely think
thoughts?
the Patriots go offensive tackle too. So
Yeah, I just don't. Unless Travis Hunter falls, I don't see another pick for them.
yeah,
Like unless let's say I've heard a lot of Ashton Jeanty to the Jaguars team. So let's say the Raiders jump up with the Giants and the Giants fall back and they take Jeanty at 3 and you're going Jeanty at 3. That's crazy. Saquon was taken at like 3 or 4. So generational talents go that early.
I mean, Zeke went in the top 5. So
Yeah. So like it wouldn't surprise me with all the Jeanty to Jacksonville steam that's going on. I could see a situation play out where the Giants are the one leaking that information and pumping up that, throwing smoke there and causing the Giants to jump up with whoever's willing to trade to hop the Jaguars, get Jeanty here, and then the Giants would be good with either Graham, Campbell, or Carter, whoever fell to them at 6. I could see a world where that's very much a possibility, or even taking Membo at 6 and passing on Carter, Graham. I don't think they'd pass on Carter, but Campbell or Graham. So I think this is the most realistic outcome. I think Carter, Campbell, Graham, Jeanty. I think this is what we all expect to happen. Am I wrong in that?
No.
Spoon, this is what you expect to happen, right?
I think that top 6
that's what I expect.
Reliable.
Okay, and then 7 is kind of where things start to get crazy.
Yeah, this is a weird little area. I think the top 6 is pretty much set, but yeah, 7 on down is just where, yeah.
It gets kind of crazy really quick. I could see a world in which the Jets trade down. I could see the world in which the Jets take Jalen Walker. I could see a world in which the Jets say, you know what, we want somebody to compete with Justin Fields. We're taking Shadur Sanders. Screw it. Now, I think the most realistic option is wide receiver, then tackle, then trade. And they have a really good defense. They have great corners. I just don't see a world in which they do anything offensively outside of the line. They added a bunch of offensive talent, or this early. I don't think they take Tet.
No.
I think they would prefer Ibuka, but they're not going to take him at 7. So if they get a trade down partner in the mid-teens,
Yep.
I think they take that. But I don't mind Membu here. I think Membu goes at 7 no matter what.
Yeah.
Good with that? Any thoughts? No?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jalen Walker, I like him at 8-2. Big popularity, biggest outside the top 10. He's an absolute stud. I think Carolina will go edge rusher here. Stack that defense. That defense they got a Brown at the defensive interior, add Jalen Walker on the edge, and go get some quarterbacks. Go eat some lunch. Shadur, the Saints. This is the big one. We've talked about this a lot recently. What do you guys think?
I don't hate it. I know you're not gonna like it, Spoon.
Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of it. Like I understand that they need a quarterback, but I still think that they're gonna take one of these other top guys. Like you can't miss with this 9th pick. It cannot be a miss.
Yeah.
You need to take a guy that is guaranteed going to be on your team, going to actually produce very well before you just take Shadur, who should be going in like the 2nd, 3rd round off the board.
Okay, 2nd or 3rd is a little crazy. Second, I can see.
He shouldn't be a 1st round pick. He should be going in the 2nd round.
I see high end 2nd round pick, but that's only because I evaluate him as a high floor, low ceiling player.
I mean, I probably exaggerated a little bit saying 3rd round, but I don't know. Like he is a 2nd round pick whenever you compare him to all these guys.
You know who Shadur Sanders reminds me a lot of, and this isn't a perfect comp because Shadur's a little more athletic, but passing wise, he reminds me of a Kirk Cousins with a weaker arm. Like he's very, very deliberate, very good at reading a defense, very good at making quick decisions. He doesn't have near the arm strength Kirk has ever had. Kirk has a way better arm strength perspective. But as far as mentally, very, very similar on-field players. So if you could take Kirk Cousins and put him in kind of a Bo Nix body, I guess, like Bo Nix's arm strength, so he can be a serviceable starting NFL quarterback. I do not believe he's worth a top 10 pick. I do not believe he can be a guy who will elevate your franchise to a higher level, and I do not believe he will be a guy that you will want to pay a big second contract to. That's me.
Well, have you guys ever been wrong before? I mean, never. So
never
you
once.
know, we can just take your.
I mean, I still remember. I still remember the draft last year. Not a single one of us had the Falcons taking.
But
Michael
nobody
Penix.
had the Falcons
Penix,
taking
yeah.
Michael Penix.
Yeah, I mean, none of us even had him going in the first round, I believe.
No, none of us did. That was a huge surprise. That was a shock.
Well, that was just a quarterback. That was they were just fishing for quarterbacks there in that.
That was
draft.
crazy. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was like 10
so
or 12.
yeah, Shadur here. I don't love this. I definitely see a
it's
world in which
crazy.
it happens, especially with Derek Carr's injury.
I see a few worlds.
I feel like this is a reach though. Kelvin Banks at 10. I like Tyler Warren here, but Tyler Warren's so spread out here that he's not a consensus pick of anybody because he's so like
Because
go to Miami.
he's on the
go to
board
Indy.
over Colson Loveland for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
If he's
But
available
just
at 14,
most people have him going to Chicago or Miami over Indy, so Colston is the pick there.
I don't think
because-
there's a world where Tyler Warren is on the board at 15, at pick 15. You know,
No, I don't think
No,
he is
he'll
either.
be-
He'll
no.
go somewhere in here. I think he goes to the Bears. They have Kelvin Banks. I think they'll take Tyler Warren. I think Ben Johnson goes and gets his
If they
Laporta.
don't, the Cowboys. I don't know. I don't know.
The Cowboys could. If he's there, Cowboys could. The Raiders proved it last year. Like taking a tight end in the around the
Top 10.
10th, the early teens isn't a bad pick. And they had just taken a high profile tight end, and they did it again. And look at him. He's
I'm so excited to
a
watch
top
Brock
5
Bowers
tight
play
end in
next
the
year with
league.
Geno Smith, dude. I am not gonna lie.
He's fucking awesome. The Niners going Will Johnson here. I like it. One out of every 5 mock drafts essentially is putting Will Johnson to the Niners. I have no issues
like
with
it.
that. You don't like it?
Not really. I just don't really feel like they have a need for cornerback, but
They have a need for defense right now, dude. They could also go Malachi Starks. They just lost Hafunga. They could go Starks too.
I mean, I could see them going offensive line as well. I think
Yeah.
there's
There's lots of there. If they go Warren, they could go Banks. I mean,
Yeah.
lots of options. In this area, you're going to see as we progress down the draft board here, you're going to see these percentages start to drop because it's less and less and less certain what actually happens.
Right.
So, grain of salt with all these. We're just giving our feedback and what we think on it. So, grain of salt. Tet McMillan here. What do you guys think? Cowboys fans, how would you feel about Tet being a Cowboy? Dalt likes it. Dalt likes it.
I know
What's your
Dalton
thoughts?
likes it. I don't.
or
I
Matthew
mean,
Golden, man. I know you're not as high on him, but honestly, man, if and I've said this a couple times already, but if the Cowboys do anything other than trade back or pick an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman, I will be so happy. But they're not going to do that. No chance.
You think there's no chance? I think this is a really good chance. I think this is a really high chance.
I think it's a good pick.
I think if he
but
makes
I
it past
don't see it
the
happening.
Saints and the Panthers, there's a really good chance that
I'm not gonna
they either
put my
go
money on it.
Warren or Tet here.
We'll see.
All right. Jahade
see.
Barron at 13. I think that this is my pick 2 for the
I don't
Dolphins.
hate
I
it.
think
I think 13% is kind of crazy.
I think he fits perfectly there in Miami. I think he's exactly what they're looking for. This will
I
be
think
one
you
of those.
should. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I think even if Will Johnson's on the board, I think they'll go Barron just because he's a better fit in Miami. But what were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, I think you could interchange Johnson or Barron. I think they both go. I mean, they're obviously both going to be going around here together.
Yeah, they'll go around here, but I think Miami should go Barron either way because of scheme fit.
Okay.
The Colts and Loveland. A lot of people just have the Colts taking a tight end. I don't hate it. I don't think Loveland is worth the 14th overall pick.
No. I don't.
I
Think
know
so
I just said picking a tight end early can go well, but he has to be a guy worthy of a top 15 pick, and I don't believe this tight end is. Colson Loveland, really good tight end. Not a very physical run blocker. Not undersized, but kind of a think like a Tyler Higbee build. Like not an elite level run blocker, but can run block, can get in the way, can do some damage, but just not a Gronkowski, not a Kelsey, and Kelsey's not a great run blocker, but not that level of pass catching ability, not that level of pass and run, not a Kittle, not a Mark Andrews. I would be okay in the later third of the first round maybe, but not just because of the pass catching ability, but not in the top 15.
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
No, I would agree.
If
I'm
Warren
not
is
sure.
here, consensus pick. He will
going.
not go past the 14th overall pick. What do you guys think about Mike Green at 15?
I don't hate it. I think that's kind of perfect for what the Falcons need. They need some defensive help.
Well, they should have gone. They should have did it. I mean, they should have taken Dallas Turner, Jared Verse, somebody last year. And everybody says Dallas Turner, he didn't play a whole lot, but he was playing behind two All-Pros at the edge position that he plays in Andrew Van Ginkel and Jonathan Grenard. So he didn't play a lot because he was playing behind two All-Pros. So you're not going to play a lot when there's two All-Pros in front of you. Michael Williams, another edge run here. Here we go. Run on edge.
This is the
three
edge
straight
run.
edges. You get Mike Green,
We have
Michael
one of
Williams,
ours.
and Shamar Stewart. All three right in a row. And, you could probably interchange those three any three ways you want. That's why these picks are these percentages are so low, just because, you
Three
can get
teams
Shamar.
I was going to say 3 teams that really need defensive help for sure.
Yep.
So
Especially the Cardinals.
I was going to say especially
And
the
the
Bengals.
Yeah.
Like the Bengals.
No, the Cardinals. The Cardinals and the Bengals were two teams that the Cardinals were a team last year that we were like, can this defense take a leap and help this offense? And the Bengals were a team where, can this defense hold up to help the offense? And neither of them panned out that well. Whereas the Falcons, I felt like, were like, okay, this is a really good defense outside of rushing the passer. They can stop the run. They can defend the pass well. They just can't rush the passer. They just need somebody to rush the passer. And they passed on that last year, which is crazy. And I feel like they have to go that this year because they don't have a terrible defense. In fact, let me pull up real quick. Atlanta, last year they were 23rd in points against, but I was looking at the year before that. Sorry. The year before that, they were a top 10 yardage defense, and they had some injuries last year. They didn't play super well. The quarterback position didn't exactly keep the offense on the field a ton. So I feel like the Falcons defense still has a lot of talent. They could play a lot better than they did, and being able to rush the passer will help immensely.
Yeah.
The Hawks, I see them as a prime trade up candidate. They have like 4 or 5 picks in the top 3 rounds. So they are a high potential to trade up. But I think them going offensive lineman is a no-brainer. The top offensive lineman on the board when they're picking is who they will pick. In this case, it's Zabel. If they trade up and it's Membu, or if they trade up and it's Campbell. If I'll say this, I'll make a prediction right now. If Membu or Campbell falls outside of the top 10, Seattle will trade up to get them with the first available pick. I'll make that prediction right now.
I don't think that's crazy.
I don't think it's crazy at all. I mean, it makes sense. They just signed Sam Darnold. They need to protect him, and that's exactly where I believe they go.
Let's
say the Jets go McMillan.
Let's say the Jets go Walker, they go McMillan, they go Walker, something like that. Yeah. And then they go Sanders, and then they go Banks here because they want a guard long term, which I still don't get because they just signed a guard.
Or they go Warren. Let's say they go Warren.
Oh yeah, let's say they go Tyler Warren. Let's say they go Tyler Warren here. And the Niners are on the clock with your picks of Banks or Membo. I mean, the Hawks have plenty of ammo to jump up here and before the Cowboys can snag him.
I mean, even
take
with
Membu.
Banks and Membu on the board, I mean, the Cowboys would be. I mean, let the Niners either pick Will Johnson or let's say they take an offensive lineman. There's still going to be one of the guys left. They can easily trade up with the Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys are a prime. I think the Cowboys could be a trade back candidate for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I think the Hawks are a prime trade up candidate to go and get a lineman. They will take the top rated lineman on their board at their pick, no matter what. I think there's no question about it. Jihad Campbell to the Bucks, I like.
I don't hate it.
Don't have any issues with that whatsoever.
I think they definitely they're going to go with the best defensive player on the board probably at the time. They need some defensive help. I wouldn't be surprised if they go secondary. Let's say one of those top secondary guys fall. They could easily go with one of them too.
Absolutely. I like that. Omari Hampton. I mean, this could be a case where, like, you know, somebody up in here threatens to take Hampton and they have to jump up and grab him. Could be. Not saying it's going to happen. Saying it could happen. I'm throwing out hypotheticals here. Hypothetically. But yeah, this is a very likely landing spot for Omari and Hampton in Denver. They need an RB1. Sean Payton has shown with Alvin Kamara, with Mark Ingram, plenty of running backs over the years that he likes his guys, and he generally likes a running back by committee with a star in there and using stars as committee backs. And this year is really deep running back wise, so they might wait, but just because I don't know. I don't personally view Hampton as a guy that I would spend a first round pick on. I've equated him a lot to you guys as a Joe Mixon type, and I'm not paying a first round pick for Joe Mixon. He's not worth that to me. Maybe I'm crazy, but I think this is high. But I also think this next pick is high. Jackson Dart to the Steelers. I think that's crazy.
You don't like it? I know Dalton likes it.
Man, Jackson Dart to me. So here's my thing with Jackson Dart. He played in an offense that was, you did one of two things. You either ran an RPO or you threw the ball down. You just threw it up and hoped your receiver caught it. Like, those were the two plays they ran. Like, you look it up, dude. He threw the ball down the field on go balls at like a 45% rate.
I'm just trying to look for the film that you were looking at, brother, because
I mean, we can
throwing it up and hoping your receiver catches it. So he just had no idea where he was throwing it. He was just
no. He was throwing go balls. He was throwing 50-50 balls. There's a dude who's covered, and I'm throwing it up to him and hoping he comes down with it. That's
what every throw is. That is exactly what every throw is. You throw it up and hope.
No, it is not. If you're throwing a slant over the middle, and your guy beats his guy, leaves him in the dust, and he's running
you hope
2
he
yards,
catches it.
And but he's not covered. He was throwing to covered guys because that's what the scheme told him to do. Just throw it there. Don't read the defense. Don't mind the pass rush. Just throw it up to your guy.
Okay, well, how many times do NFL quarterbacks do that?
Like 5% of the time.
No,
and he did it. It's look up go ball rates. It's
5%.
A go ball is a 5% throw. You throw a go on any given game. If there's 60 snaps, you're not throwing 5 go balls. You're not just throwing it up on a 50-50 ball 5 times. You're throwing it 2 or 3 times. It's about 5%. It's what it is. But hold on. Here's my the other part of it. Or he was running RPOs, and RPOs are fine. You can win with RPOs. That doesn't bug me. The thing where I had an issue with Dart was when he was asked to read the offense or read the defense and make different level throws and make progressions and make reads. He was so just hit or miss. Like, there was no consistency. There were times where he would drop back, scan the field, deliver a dart, perfect. Oh my God, that's what I want every time. And then the next play, 3rd and 1.
He just needs a little work, man. He's a college kid.
That's fair. But there were plays where he drops back, has a tight end wide open for the first down, and he would pull it down and start scrambling for no reason with no pressure. And that kind of stuff worries me.
got to work on your vision.
Vision is not something I think you can teach. It's something you have or you don't have. And I'm not saying he's a bust. Not saying he's a bust. I'm saying this is a project quarterback who's a 3rd or a 4th round pick. He is Will Levis incarnate. He's Will Levis 2.0, and he's just a smaller version of Will Levis.
That's wild.
And
take.
Will Levis, well, but hold on. But Will Levis had a chance to succeed. He just got taken by the Titans, who didn't have a good infrastructure. And I believe if you put Will Levis on the 49ers in Brock Purdy's position a couple years ago, Will Levis does just fine. With Jackson Dart just does fine. And I think Pittsburgh is a great place for him to be. I just think there are other players on the board here who are way more impactful. And first off, Kenneth Grant, Maxwell Harrison, Tyler Booker, even at the guard position. This dude could be a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. Tyler Booker at guard. Him and Zabel both, I think, are going to be amazing 10, 15-year offensive guards. I do not think that Jackson Dart is going to be a 10-year Hall of Fame, Pro Bowl NFL quarterback. And I could be totally wrong. There's nothing on the tape that shows me that. So that's my issue. And I'm not saying he can't succeed, because he is raw. And if he gets the right coach, he gets a McVay, he gets a Shanahan, he gets a LaFleur that can work with him and mold him and teach him how to play NFL quarterback in an unrushed manner, I feel like there's real potential there. You have a moldable piece of clay that could be good. If you take him as the Steelers and you go, okay, you're going to be our starting quarterback, you are looking at Kenny Pickett. You are looking at Will Levis. You are looking at that type of situation for him. And I just don't think it's going to work out that way. I feel like the Steelers just did this with Kenny Pickett, and I don't know why they would do it again. It would just be like banging your head against the wall and expecting a different result. Okay. But so that's my reservations. Like I said, if they do it the right way, he could be good. Kenneth Grant, I love that pick. Reunite the Michigan man in LA with Harbaugh.
I feel like a lot of mock drafts has a Michigan player going to.
It's either going to be Kenneth Grant
or
it's going to be Colson Loveland here. If Colson Loveland doesn't go to the Colts, I think he goes here. I would say this is a better spot for him. I could even see him going to the LA Rams later in the first round. Could you imagine the Rams with Loveland, Puka, and Devontae? That would be fucking insane. And then Kyron Williams, who we just did a film breakdown on, coming out in a couple weeks. So that offense would be insane. But I think Colson Loveland's the pick here. Kenneth Grant is a great secondary pick, in my opinion. They need defensive line interior help, so it'd be a good pick. Maxwell Harrison to Green Bay. They're most likely going to lose Jair Alexander at some point this offseason. Probably a post-June 1st cut. So Harrison is a great pick. He's going to be... He's not a small corner, but a smaller corner. He's more like Darius Slay build. He's more like that style of build. He's not a Devin Witherspoon, long, lanky corner. That's going to be... He has more corner flexibility. He can move into the slot. He can play outside. He can... he's got a body type that lends it to both. He's not just an outside cornerback. But he's also not going to be a lockdown corner either. Like, he's not that guy. Great corner either way. I think he's going to be good. Very much had I not made that comp, very much a Jair Alexander style corner that's, very scrappy, very clingy, very, very good, very good. How do I say this without sounding weird? Very good ability to move your hips in and out of breaks depending on where the receiver goes. I was trying not to make that sound weird. The Vikings, I hate this pick. Absolutely hate this pick. Oh my God, I'll be so devastated. If they take Nick Emanuari, I will be devastated. This guy is absolute. So we have a guy on the Vikings named Josh Metellus. He was the guy that that did all the celebrations last year. Was one of the guys that did all the celebrations that we had going. And he is Nick Emanuari already on the Vikings. He's a linebacker safety hybrid that comes in dime packages to play linebacker and safety. He's a very a Swiss Army knife per se. He can rush the passer. He can drop into coverage. He can play linebacker. He can play safety. So we just signed him to an extension. And we just signed Theo Jackson, another safety, to an extension. So I do not have any reason to believe we will take a safety. And this seems insane to me. Like, absolutely ludicrous, especially if a guy like Tyler Booker, when we have a huge hole at left guard, is still there. Walter Nolan. There's just so many other.
Still there?
I wouldn't want Malachi Starks either. He's a safety. I just don't think we'd take a safety.
Okay.
We would take a corner before we take a safety, and I think if we take a corner, we're trading back to take a corner, right? We're going to trade with one of these 4 teams and take a corner here. But so needless to say, hate that pick. Josh Simmons.
I think that's a pretty much. I mean, look how high that is. That's what we all think.
I would take Booker over Simmons personally, but Simmons has the flexibility to play guard or tackle, whereas Booker's more of a guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, not more of. He's just a guard, but I think he is a Hall of Fame guard. I think Tyler Booker is going to be special. I mean, this dude is an absolute, like, if Dan Campbell had a boyfriend, it would be Tyler Booker. Like, he is the other half to Dan Campbell. And I see, if he is there when the Lions pick, which he might not be, there's no question in my mind he's going to make it past the Lions at 28 and be plugged in at their right guard for Zeitler, who just left. I think he is Dan Campbell's wet dream of a prospect. But LA taking Trey Amos. I don't hate the cornerback. I have a couple guys ranked over Amos, including Siobhan Revel, the Eastern Carolina cornerback, and a lot of people are not as high on him because he played at a small school, but dude's a physical freak. Dude is a freak athlete. And if you can get him with NFL coaches, cornerback's a position you can learn. You don't have to be born with anything but size and speed. And Siobhan Revel's got all of it. So he's like 6'2" and ran like a 4.4. Like, he is just, and he's like 220. He's not a small dude. He's a big dude. Reminds me of a lot of a bigger Richard Sherman. Like, just, yeah, very, very freak athlete. Tyler Booker to the Ravens. Love that. Love everything about it. Love Booker any point after pick 15. Donovan, I don't know, man. I see them going Harmon here if he's there. If Derek Harmon's here, I would go defensive interior if I was them, not defensive line edge. What do you guys think? Or Walter Nolan?
Mikael Williams is still there too.
Yeah, Mikael Williams. I can see him going over
Donovan.
That's killing me. And then Pierce, edge run here. Wait, didn't Mikael Williams go up here? No?
Did he?
Michael Williams.
Oh, yeah, he did. Okay, never mind.
I was like, wait, didn't Mikael Williams go?
He might have. Then, yeah. I mean, this is another little defensive line run that we have going on here.
Little defensive line run. I don't mind this at all. I like Nolan in the back half of the first round. I like Jesus. And Starks. I like all these picks in through here. I love Booker. If you can get Booker in the last 5-6 picks of the first round, that's going to end up being a huge steal. A huge steal, in my opinion.
I've been seeing him go as high as like 15. Or I've seen him going as high as 18 to Seattle.
Yeah, I would not be shocked at all if he went to Seattle. If they don't trade up and it's just sitting there, I would not be shocked at all if he goes to Seattle.
You think they would take him over Zabel?
Just with Zabel playing at a
D2.
Yeah, and the thing with Zabel is he had a ton of question marks. Like, can he do this against the best of the best? And then he went to the Senior Bowl and dominated the Senior Bowl, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, he can." And it's one thing to do it in practice; it's another thing to do it in a game against actual NFL players. There's a lot of guys that go to the Senior Bowl that aren't going to be playing in the NFL on Sunday. There's a lot of guys who do. Lots of guys who do go to the Senior Bowl and play on Sundays, but there's a lot of guys who don't. So just because you dominate there does not mean you can dominate on Sunday. And if I'm picking in the top 20, I want a guy who can dominate on Sunday. That's what I'm looking for. And I have a lot more faith in Booker personally than in Zabel. Like I said, not
fair.
saying that's the word of God. I'm saying that that's my opinion. Really like Nolan in the back half. Like I said, love Chiefs and Phillies picks. I think Philly could go all sorts of directions here. Huge trade out candidate for a team that, if anybody falls, a team that can jump back into the first round and snag somebody to make sure to get that 5th-year option on the contract. That's always a big play with the Super Bowl winner, right? That's always a big play with the 32 pick because they have such a good team already and they have all the things they need to drop back, acquire more picks, and build for the future of their franchise. It just makes a lot of sense. So, huge watch these last 5 picks for, a trade down. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and it's not like they're probably not gonna trade down crazy, but like if you scroll up to like the Giants or the Browns, like they could easily jump up right into that top 5, or they could jump up just a few picks into the bottom 5 in the first round.
I got what you meant.
Yeah,
I don't think that's crazy at all. No. I would really, really like to believe that Shedeur Sanders doesn't go in the top 20. But with the Saints and Derek Carr, there's a chance they might.
They definitely could. It's a big question mark. I don't think they do, but
question mark. Is there any pick that you're outside of the top 5? Is there any pick that you guys are like hyper confident in?
Outside of the top 5.
Outside of the top 5 and outside of the Cowboys. You can't say the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah, I figured that.
That's like me saying the Vikings. Because I'm hyper confident we'll trade back, right?
I'm not even hyper confident, man. I'm just saying with, and I'll go back on it for a while, but like Michael Penix going to the Falcons still even has me. That's a big 3% that the Titans don't take Cam Ward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's 2 that I'm kind of looking at that I think are probably going to happen. I'm starting to believe that Warren is going to be going to the Bears.
Yeah, that's my big one. Is that he's gonna get they can get like a let me pull up my
I was gonna put out there also I do believe that Barron is probably gonna be going to the Dolphins.
So Quinion Judkins, God, got a little cough developing. RJ Harvey, Damian Martinez, Caleb Johnson, Cam Scatterbo, Dylan Sampson, Rashard Smith, Devin Neal, Travion Henderson, all those guys are going to be playing on Sundays. So you take one of those guys, pair him with Swift in Chicago, you get Warren in the first round, and now you have Ben Johnson has his version of Detroit's offense, right? He's starting to build the offense that he just left. You have your running back duo, your high-end tight end, your smaller, really efficient slot receiver, DJ Moore and Amon-Ra. Then you have, the younger deep threat in Jamison Williams. You now have Rome Odunze. Like, he's starting to build. You have a really solid offensive line that you've reworked through free agency. I just feel like he's staring down building the offense he just had in Detroit and had so much success with. Like, why would you branch off from that and do something wildly different? We just don't see that in the NFL. So it's kind of like my thing with Gene T and the Raiders. Pete Carroll is staring down the second coming of a Marshawn Lynch that is more fluid in the pass game, right? He's staring that down. Why would he not take that? Like, we get so caught up. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. We get so caught up in like projecting guys, right? That were like the Gene T's of the world, right? Like I meet guys that are like, he played in the Mountain West, he's not going to be very good, and that's fine or whatever. But what happens when he's the next Barry Sanders? And people go, oh, you're comparing him to Barry Sanders? There's going to be another Barry Sanders one day.
Yeah.
There's going to be another all-time great. There's going to be another guy who reaches that pinnacle. And yes, we compare, but we get scared of proclaiming that. Like, Ashton Jeanty is a LaDainian Tomlinson level prospect. He is a guy who can be a difference maker every single time he touches the ball. And not to like hyper focus on him, but there aren't many other of those guys in this draft. Travis Hunter is one of them, and he's a 50-50 for me. Like, I got to see how the team uses him, right? If they just play him at wide receiver, I think he's going to be so good. But if they try to mix and match him, I think it's doomed to fail. I don't think at the NFL level you can miss out on practicing with the quarterback and getting those reps on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and just go out there and deliver. Like you need that repetition, you need that practice. And if you're going to be on defense, you need to have time to study the opposing offense. You can't be worried about getting reps in with the quarterback. You got a whole offense you got to take care of. So it's very hard for me to believe that he can do both at the NFL level. I believe he has the capability. Like, he has the capability. I just don't feel like he has the time to do it every week. But yeah, those, in my opinion, I would like to hear your guys as well. Those are the two biggest generational prospects in this draft, are Gene T and Hunter. And I think Gene T will be... I haven't been this confident about a pick since Saquon. And Saquon went to the Giants, who were a bum organization, and still took them on a playoff run, right? Like, yep. I believe in Dalton.
I'm just interested in seeing what Hunter's going to do and who picks him and where they're going to put him, because he is very adamant on he wants to play both sides of the ball. I've never seen that done personally.
Yeah, no, it doesn't happen in the NFL level.
And I'm trying to think. Happen. That's what I mean. I'm trying to think of a way, like how can you do this? Okay, let's say you're on the offense, and then something happens, and you need to do like a quick shift on defense. Okay, you got one player who doesn't have to get off the field. Okay, is that a benefit? Is that positive to you, or is that a negative thing? Because like he's already tired from being on offense. Like we're just gonna keep him on defense. Otherwise, I don't see the benefit of
the product will suffer.
That's what I mean. Like, why do you need to play both sides? Like, what's the benefit?
So I think he's going to be corner more than anything. But I do believe that they're going to have some plays where it's like, hey, we're going to bring him in and let him play receiver this play. Like they'll bring him in,
kind of like Kevontae Turpin for the Cowboys.
Yeah,
he's an explosive player who can create a little bit of confusion.
So can I give my full breakdown real quick? It'll take
no, you can't. All right, guys, that's it. That's the pod.
It'll take like 2 minutes. Okay, so not even really. So my full thoughts on the matter are, if he's going to pick one or the other, he will be a better receiver if he gets to just play one side of the ball. If he gets to play one side of the ball, I think he has the quickness and separation ability and overall speed and the hands and the vision to be a great wide receiver.
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
I think if he had to pick, if the talent that he has as a wide receiver, as he is at catching the ball, he would be an even more talented cornerback, because he has the speed to create the separation. He has the speed to close in on the gaps on those guys and steal those 50-50 balls. And I think you would make him a Deion Sanders type, somebody who is, it's like, man, he should just be a wide receiver. You know what I mean? Because he's so good at catching the ball.
And that's totally fair.
That's where it goes. It's like, okay, this cornerback is like, he's totally so good. Just make that's where it goes whenever you're in the NFL. You throw some drills and you figure out who's the best at catching the ball. The best guys are wide receivers, and the worst guys are cornerbacks.
So that's fair. And because he has such good hands and he has such good route running ability and he's so smart, you want to get him the ball as much as possible. That's why I say if you had to pick one or the other, put him at wide receiver, because you want him to touch the ball as much as possible. He's a special playmaker. So that's why I think that. But if he is dead set on playing both positions, if he will not say anything but I play both sides of the ball, you play him full time at corner, he's at corner full time, and you give him a 10 to 15 play package each and every week on offense. He's a Deebo Samuel, a Percy Harvin, a gadget guy on offense that comes in and makes plays, but it's toss sweeps, it's reverses, it's slants, it's drags, it's go balls. It's not, you're not running a full route tree. You're not out there to, the quarterback isn't making checks with you at the line of scrimmage. Like that, none of that. Like you will just mess up, and it will cost your team. It will. End of story. You don't have the reps. You don't have the time. It will cost your team. I think he would achieve more as a wide receiver.
Imagine having to practice. You
That's
practice
what I'm
on both. You practice on both sides of the ball.
Well, he would do something like where he's in the meeting room with the corners to go over the.
I'm so sorry.
Offense.
I think he wants to do this, because the talent in college is that much less. Like, obviously, college football is explosive and it's great and it's fun to watch, but there is a level shift. And I think once he gets there, he's going to go, oh, this is entirely too much work to have to do to be great at
I think he's going to get hurt. I think he's going to get hurt, and then
we'll see what happens. I'm interested to watch.
Shohei Ohtani. He can pitch and he can bat, right? Shohei Ohtani. He got hurt pitching because he was playing so much.
Did he really? When was that?
2 seasons ago, Spoon? Was it this last season?
I don't
not that long.
I think it was last season. But
if you're going to ask me a baseball or an NBA question, I'm not going to be able to answer it.
Okay.
How would you get hurt pitching?
Tommy John elbow. So he doesn't pitch anymore because he got hurt and it took him off the field. And he's such a good batter that they're like, oh, well, we got to have him in the lineup, so you're not going to pitch. So it's the same thing.
You can find a good pitcher.
You're going to play so much that you need him on the field. His offense, it's the same thought process.
Especially depending on where he goes to.
His offensive prowess outweighs his defensive prowess, and so you got to keep him on the offense. You got to keep him scoring touchdowns.
Well, he's projected for the Browns or the Giants. Both teams in heavy, they need offense so bad.
Yeah. So any closing thoughts? Any other generational prospects you guys want to talk about before we go? Final thoughts before the draft. You don't get another opportunity to say anything you want to say before the draft. So if there's a take you want to get it out right now, Spoon. Dalton says he's good.
I told you. Cowboys will trade back or draft an offensive lineman. That is my take.
Yeah, any proclamations you want to make? Anything?
I already said mine. I personally, like, whenever we talked about
Chiefs will trade up,
where we think people will go. Like I said, I truly believe. I think Warren goes to the Bears now, and I think Barron goes to the Dolphins. That's kind of my 2 big predictions outside of the top 5. But
all right, well, Cam Ward, you, sir, are a Tennessee Titan. Other than that, who knows?
Who knows?
All right.
We're going to find out. That's guaranteed.
We're going to find out Thursday. We're going to find out Thursday. We'll be doing a live stream Thursday, so make sure to check that out on the YouTube channel. Turn the noti bell on to find out when that starts. Subscribe to the channel.
Catch us on Twitter.
Like the video.
If you follow on Twitter, we'll have the link.
Get on that X. Get on that X button.
Twitter.
We'll see y'all next time. Peace.
See ya.